There we go.
There you are.
He is back. Yes,
Yes.
I can.
Yes, we hear you. Okay.
Yeah,
Your
the
mic's
quality
dead.
is a little
It
bit.
works.
Mhm.
Okay.
Sure. I'll need to ask you a question once we break for dinner, but that will be fine. So, Taryn wants to Kafak Taryn wants to swap stories. Indeed, Taryn also shares a few stories of his own about, for instance, yes, and he alludes to something that he calls his quest. No, his quest, yes. But before you can get to ask what that quest exactly is, a woman walks up. As I said with the others, you heard it, she walks with a liquid grace that makes it look as though she has not a bone in her body. And she has, what was it? Oh yes, she's got auburn hair that, brown hair, no sorry, black hair that has a greenish tint to it. Keep forgetting the name. And she says, this one is curious if she may join you for a while. Oh, indeed, I do so believe. This one believes that. This one is Memnon and Shakal. I heard, this one heard tell that you had used some sort of fire spewing artifact in the battle. Is this true? Oh, this one is saddened to hear of such a loss. You did recover it, yes? Ah, it is truly a pity. Let's see, my house has some experience in artifacts. If you would be interested, we can have a look at it. Of course, it is your flame fan after all. Of course you can. She continues to ask a little bit more about the flame fan, but more about its appearance, if there were any symbols on it. And she takes out a little piece of glass, and she then shows it to you and starts flipping through dozens of symbols to see if you recognize one of them. Ah, yes, you have a good empathy. Let's see, that is... You get a distinct impression that she is interested in the artifact, not for its power, but for its history. So this one thinks it's so sad that people forget that these wonders are meant for life and not for death. She responds immediately, creating a fire trench to stop an even larger fire from engulfing a small community. Did you know that certain trees have to be burnt before they become fertile?
You got it from me, you bastard.
I steal. Yes. Now, perhaps one day you would invite me to view your marvelous flame fan. This one is honored and made very happy by your generosity. I will certainly come by one day. And with that, Taryn takes over the conversation, and we talk about, and he actually asks about, yes, the history of your weapons, because every artifact is not just a magical weapon; it is a thing with history. I mean, sometimes the sword is a bigger hero than the one who wields it. Not in this case, though. Mm-hmm. Oh, that I see. But still, it is. Yeah. Okay, let's just continue on with what we have. And indeed, he turns to well, he looks the storyteller looks at Dynav and says, "And your blades?"
Family heirloom.
The food is good, by the way. It's of excellent quality. And oh yes, the gentleman that was sitting by you is actually engaged in deep conversation with another fella. And the other fella is now pulling out some kind of board game
Mm-hmm.
with the words of with the accompanied by the word of, "I challenge you to a game of Gateway."
Well,
Just to make it just to make it official. So yes, Mafika gets challenged to a strategy game.
mm-hmm.
It's rather fitting, considering. Now, let's see. Family heirlooms, and the storyteller also asked the young maiden Galen about about her most prized artifact.
She would look up at him and say, "Most prized artifact. Now see, I don't know. There are so many prized artifacts. There's just
That you have.
mm,
That's most prized by you.
too many to count. I don't keep them all with me, and I couldn't really pick one. I love them all."
I see. But surely you must have surely some of them. One of these artifacts must have a inspiring history to tell for this surroundings.
Mm. There might be one that I could tell you of that has a history of how I got it. That's about it.
Mm. Do tell. Do tell.
Huh? It wasn't too eventful, but it was the more eventful of the rest of them. The rest of
Mm-hmm.
them I more or less acquired during my training, but
Yes.
this one, well, I had found it down an old path. I was off, reading the stars like I usually do, and they told
Mm-hmm.
me to follow what looked like a doe. So I did.
Ah. Mm-hmm.
And I followed this doe for a good 5, 6, 7 miles. I stopped counting after 5,
Ah.
and led me to a clearing and then a passage in a cave.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And the doe ran off. And I walked into the passage. There was nothing in it, and found I found a jade gauntlet in there.
Ah. Just a single jade gauntlet.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. I believe that that was not meant as a part of a full suit of armor.
Welcome
Okay.
back.
Welcome back.
Okay, out of character. Is the Jade Gauntlet meant?
No,
Okay,
no.
back in character. No, it wasn't meant for a full suit of armor.
Ah, I see, I see. Right. That is a very interesting tale. Thank you for sharing it.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, sure. Yeah, I'm going to do that. As I said, Mafik is having fun. Has just been challenged to a board game of strategy by the one who was sitting next to you, one of the scholars. And suddenly there's suddenly there's an outburst of sound of raucous laughter as one of the mortals opens up the silk veils and waltzes into the hall with all the dragon blooded. And you hear a lot of bawdy songs and sung at the top of the lungs, and as the silk sweep close, the sound just gets cut off and muffled. And the dragonlord all look at him in amazement as he walks to one of the pretty ladies around, who just looks and he goes, "Hey, you know, you're really pretty. But I'm betting that." And he starts. Hmm? No, he's not hitting on you. Oh, let me roll the dice of doom. No, that's good. He's seducing, and he tries to seduce him in the way of the Dalzani, sort of. And you notice that the dragon blooded really does not care for it. So she goes, "I warn you once. Go away, mortal. I am not interested." Yep, that's what they all say until they get to know me. What? Who is sitting in another room? You need to go to. Yes, yes. They're in the adjoining room. Okay, they go. Ah, that's Tama. That's Tama, sir. Oh, we're going to get him. He's going. I didn't believe he would go on. That he would go on that there. I mean, who's so stupid enough to do that? And you leave the really raucous party for the elegant surroundings of the dynastic festival, and just in time to see what happens. The guy is actually patting the dragon blooded on the woman sitting by her and moving very close to her, and there's just this yeah, you can see how her face turns hard and impassive. She has a chopsticks in her hand, and she stabs them right through his eyeballs. Bum! Turn! Push! Flop! And he is dead. And she puts the chopsticks on the corpse and turns to one of the cleaning ladies. "Would you please clean up this mess? And could I have some fresh chopsticks?" Yes. Be glad you do not have to roll compassion anymore. She looks up to you and goes, "I did warn him to leave. He would not listen. He died. No big deal." Oh, and also you're getting a fate point for this because you're getting into trouble because of your aspect. Yes, for the listeners back home, as I said, creation is. Let me put it. There is Gaia. Gaia is the goddess of all creation. She's got 5 lieutenants. Those are the elemental dragons, or the great elemental dragons. And they each represent one element, one of the elements that all of creation is built out of. And the dragon-blooded believe that the dragon-blooded know that they carry the blessing of one of the great elemental dragons in them. That's why Mercury is a fire-blooded, and Galen is an air-blooded, wind-blooded, air-blooded.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, no, they do not represent justice. Gods generally represent justice. And actually, what? No,
Yeah, you're screwed.
you say, God of justice, heed my call now. Because
Yeah.
yes, you're dragon-blooded. You are above the gods. Except the celestial gods. Yes, the unconquered son. You do not want to boss him around. It does not work well.
Hey, son, I need a new tan. Shine on me.
Alright, you make good sense, so you get a +1 on your presence roll as you try to summon the god of justice. Maphalar? No. Musaf, that was his name, Musaf.
Mm-hmm.
You could do that.
Wait. Nice.
Wow. +1.
+1.
It's a... yes, epic. Actually, you force a god to appear beside you. Yes. Well, you did so with Krakatorak. You did so with Krakatorak, remember? You forced him out of... Yes. You forced him to appear. And they... what was he looking at? Yes. Yes. He's a proud, strong-looking Delzani, 8 foot tall, well muscled, not well muscled, but he has this statuesque appearance and this presence which that would fill that would fill mortals with awe. He's got a beard and these deep, wise eyes and a stern visage. Who has summoned Musaf, God of Justice?
Dun dun dun.
And you run past. Huh. He was standing there. Yes. He's actually going to keep standing there. Freely I can tell you that you have indeed been barred. You have been barred from ever arriving on time at the gates of fire. Yes. However, your feet will not carry you to the gate. Your feet alone will not carry you to your destiny with your destined duel.
He just said it.
It's not you that has to do anything. He looks back at Galen.
Do I hear all this?
Yes, he has a deep voice that carries.
Galen looks at him and thinks for a moment, and then you see her eyes shine as she snaps her fingers and says, "Aha!"
Indeed.
She snapped. Stop her.
And then she gives the god the thumbs up and winks at him.
May your quest for justice be fulfilled forthwith, he says, and disappears.
Yep.
You never
And-
ask more of him.
And what you see is I'm going to.
Hey, it is his turn in the games of divinity. Can't help you that much.
Okay, so I'm going to begin casting.
Mm-hmm.
A Surus skiff appears.
Very well. Considering that you're not currently in combat, you do not have to roll for it. You just need to spend your last 2 points of fate. Oh, which reminds me, which also means that you start flaring hard. Yes. The terrestrials are have this affliction that the more fate or essence that they use, that's the more violent they start their aura starts ripping up creation and all those that dwell in it.
How bad is it? Does it hurt Makiri?
Yes.
How badly? How badly does it hurt her?
It hurts her every. It hurts. She must make a resistance roll every turn to must be to resist the owl.
Okay.
Yes.
I look at her and I say, I know it's gonna hurt, but this is the only way I can see to allow this to happen.
The God of Justice feels like smacking the back of your head.
Wait, why?
Never mind. Oh well. You let's
That's
see.
the. You said her feet alone. I figured it'd be easier to fly there.
Now, be that as it may, you now have a cloud, a cirrus skiff. So yes, does Mikiri step onto the cloud and into the freezing tornado that is Galen? Yes. Yes, and I think I shall describe the scene of the duel once we return, because it is time for our break.